In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Good day, everyone. I'm Nestor Licanto. Welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. Our guests this week are the respective chairpersons of the two main political parties on Guam. We have Sarah Thomas Nededog for the Democrats and Tony Ada for the Republicans. Welcome, guys.
Half day, Nestor. Half day, Guam.
Half day, buenas.
Appreciate your being here. I know we're just about less than a week away from the general election, so I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to just respond to a few questions that we have. And first and foremost, let me start with you, Sarah. Ladies first. What do you think would be the most important issue for voters in this particular election?
Well, I think there is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I think our people are concerned first and foremost about their health and safety. So I think people want to know what are our leaders doing to better ensure that our people are safe, that we stay healthy. And of course, you know, how are we going to get this economy back on track? Because people have to get back to work. They need to start generating money. So how do we mesh all these issues that are so important to us? So I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be health, and it's going to be our safety, and it's going to be the economy, no doubt.
All right, Tony, what about you? What do you think are going to be the main issues that voters are going to be looking at for this particular election?
Yeah, Nestor, I believe it's going to be the pocketbook issues, right? How do they continue to put food on the table? How do they pay the bills? How are they going to pay the mortgage and the utilities? And I think that when our people look at what's been going on this past 7 months, and you know, it's very fortunate that we had the pandemic assistance from both the federal government coming out to assist the businesses with the PPP program, and also those that became unemployed. So the issue is going to become, where are we going to be at in the next couple of months, and what is our government doing to strengthen our economy and stabilize it, so that if you saw the news this morning, there was an issue about a tsunami of bankruptcies. And I think that's the fear of a lot of people, is that they don't want to go through a bankruptcy proceeding, possibly losing their house, you know, things like that. So I truly believe it's going to be the pocketbook issues that are number one on a lot of people's minds.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about the economy later, but Sarah, wanted to get back to you. You said that health and safety is going to be the one of the primary issues, and I agree with that. But what do you think is the government doing a good job in this unprecedented pandemic that we're all faced with, even throughout the globe? Is the government of Guam, is it handling the pandemic right in your mind?
I think that we're doing the best that we can in terms of what the government is doing in its leadership. I mean, as you said, Nestor, these are unprecedented times. I mean, even in the United States, globally, people are trying to figure out how to get a vaccine. What is it that we're going to do to ensure that this virus is stopped and that we don't face anything like this? I mean, this is a major global shutdown. I'm really, I think I'm just so happy that we have at the helm a healthcare provider. I mean, it's like divine intervention, you know, because we have someone that understands health and understands healthcare that's leading the executive branch. What better person? I think also we have a lot to learn from our regional friends, who many of the islands around us in the Pacific have low cases of the virus. And I think that us holding hands with them, having conversations with them, and joining together in regional prevention strategies is the way forward for us. I mean, we can't just we can look internally at our resources and our needs, but I think we really need to work very closely with our region and learn what are the things that they're doing. What are some natural ways in which we can keep our families safe and boost our health. And that's really the key as we move forward, is how do we keep healthy and how do we keep safe? And if you don't have that, you can't talk about anything else, because you need to have a healthy workforce in order to stimulate the economy. It's going to be slow and it's going to be painful, but it's something we have to do. We've got to walk that. We've got to get through this journey together.
All right, Tony, same question to you. How do you think the government of Guam has been handling this pandemic now heading into, I think, our eighth month, yeah?
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. This is something that no one's ever expected. The government, I believe, has done the best that they could do, just like any of the world governments. Were there mixed messages coming out from the administration, and the physician advisory group? Absolutely. But I think as they moved along, they worked together. They brought their messaging together to come out with one message. And I think that's what people are looking for, is trust in our government. How can we trust our government to provide us with the accurate information that is needed so that we can learn to, this is a pandemic that we're going to have to learn to live with. It's just like the flu, trying to learn to live with the flu. The COVID-19, we're going to try to learn to live with it among us, because keeping our mask on, keeping our hands washed, staying healthy, like Sarah said, is going to be very important in bringing and rebuilding our economy, bringing tourists back to our island, but most especially just to live amongst one another and to be cohesive as an island, because we're the only ones that can make it happen to move our island forward.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah, there seems to be a division within the community, and not just Guam. I'm talking about, stateside as well. Between those who believe that, in order to preserve health and maintain, safety, that we need to shut down certain aspects of the economy. And there's another train of thought that we should open the economy as much as possible, or open it completely. What do you, Tony, let me stick with you. What are your thoughts on that? What should we be doing? I mean, we're right now in a P-Core 1 status for a number of weeks, although the governor has loosened restrictions on certain businesses. So what do you think she should be doing?
Well, I'm not in the governor's shoes, and I know that she has a lot of advisors around her that are guiding her through this pandemic. What we can do is actually, like I said previously, right, we need to learn to live with this virus, because the longer we stay indoors, I think will just it will enhance the problem instead of trying to solve the problem, right? And I think that once we learn to live with it, and everyone, they put these certain protocols in place. I mean, we're already, a lot of people, when you go out there, you see them wearing their masks, you see the hand sanitizers. I mean, if we do that on a daily basis and just stick to the plan, stick to the program, I think we'd be able to merge and enjoy both being out there and the businesses opening, so that we can continue to rebuild the economy. But I think the governor has done what she needs to do. And like I said, she has her physicians there that are guiding her. And we can all be what they call them, armchair quarterbacks, right? But she has to make the decision, and she has those advisors that are next to her, helping her through this. And any way that we can help, we're always glad to assist. I mean, even with my business, we do what the governor tells us to do, and continue to do the protocols and put those protocols in place so that we can enjoy the camaraderie of one another, right? And Not only that, but when people come to pay their respects to their loved ones, they'll be able to do it openly and safely, knowing that when they come and they leave, they're going to be safe.
And Sarah, so far the governor has resisted some of the calls to reopen the economy completely in the name of health and safety, which you alluded to earlier. You think she's doing a good job so far?
Absolutely. I mean, short of calling for an island-wide total shutdown, and that means, like, you know, when you think about a typhoon, right? When it's a typhoon or condition of readiness one, typhoon condition is what we grew up with, right? So when it gets to 2, we already know we got to like get our stuff and stay home and get ready. And when we're in 1, nobody goes out. The only one that's out is really like the police and safe people that are trying to like repair, you know, the poles or whatever. But the bottom line is PCOR 1 is a real statement of seriousness of this this pandemic. And it's amazing to me that even given the escalation of us going to PCOR 1, that people still are in disbelief or are non-compliant, you know, with the measures. And what is it? Stay home. Only go out if you have to go to the doctor's or the grocery store. You know, urgent things. Don't have family gatherings. You know, personal hygiene is critical. And most of all, she has been encouraging us to do healthy things. Use this time to learn about what we can do to boost our immunity, what we can do to stay healthy, how we can support the members of our family so that they stay healthy as well. I mean, that's like the key. Let's use our time wisely, somewhat of a downtime for us in terms of we're not going to the movies, which is my fave. We're not going out and visiting friends and having parties. So we should be at home, really finding out what is it that we can do to improve our own health and boost our immunity. So I think she's really taken the lead there. And I know that our Democratic senators have been right there alongside her, saying the same thing. It's like, come on, folks, we've got this, Guam, stay home, stay healthy, mask up, and do whatever you can to encourage other people to do the same.
All right, so Tony, let's talk a little bit about the economy. You know, obviously the downfall and the downturn in the tourism industry has really decimated the economy. What is the plan? How do we recover? What is the Republican economic recovery plan?
Well, what we need to do, Nestor, is to actually work within ourselves before we try to bring in tourism, right? And that's, like I said, what do we do to put protocols in place? How do we get restaurants to reopen? How do we get our hotels to reopen, being that they can be safe so that when tourists come in, that they know that they're going to be safe as well? And it's the protocols and procedures that each establishment and each business is responsible for doing so that they know that the employees and the visitors are both safe. But at the same time, it's government working with private. How is it that instead of trying to close businesses or trying to penalize businesses, what is it that we can do to work with each other? That's the only way that our government is going to be able to increase the tax base, because currently I think our tax base is greatly diminished, and it's the private sector that keeps government moving. So we need to work together to reopen the economy. We need to work together to put a plan together that will say, this is the procedures that we have in place. Let's get the businesses to follow it, and let's get our economy and our tourism back into the island. But we need to start from the inside before we move to the outside.
All right, Sarah, what it should be the economic recovery plan?
You know, Nestor, I think what we need to look at that we probably haven't spent as much time doing in the past is looking internally. In other words, looking at what are our assets here on the ground? What is it that we're good at here on Guam, and even as I shared earlier, in the region? Because I think that's really going to be the answer to our socioeconomic future, and prosperity and health is what is it that we have here on Guam. So if it's our waters, our land, fishing, agriculture, all those things that we can manage here, like we're doing now. We have so limited access to outside of Guam and the region, right? So we need to re-examine what are our assets, what are our people assets, what are our land and other natural resources that we can take and create those into a sustainable economy. I think the big message for us is that we need to not be so dependent on external resources, and we got to look at our families, we got to look at our neighborhoods, we got to look at our families, and we've got to examine what is it that we have that can help to sustain us. And I really think that's the way forward. Is not that we don't want to be in partnership with the superpowers of the world and the other countries around us, but we really need to start taking a look at farming and our waters and just things that we can manage here on our own. And I think that's going to really be the thrust in 2021 and moving forward.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
All right, so let's move on to politics. There is a general election on Tuesday. Tony, you're one of the candidates for the legislature. Who's going to win the legislative majority and why?
I think at this point in time, you're still seeing the 8-7 Republican or Democrat. I think in this pandemic, all the candidates have gone out to get their message out as best as they can to present themselves to the people on their platforms and what they want to do as a candidate in the 36 Guam legislature. In the end, I believe that the Republicans will take the majority in the legislature, and that is because I think what has happened these past 2 years is that people saw how our legislature has been, I won't say in action, but in action, and more so these past 7 months when the people really needed leadership. Leadership was absent. And I think they're going to take the different focuses of what has gone on these past 7 months, and they're going to use that and base that upon how they're going to go and vote for the candidates. But it's still a Republican or a Democrat that could take the majority. But in the end, like I said, I think that the Republicans will prevail in the legislature.
All right, Sarah, I think you might probably disagree with that. Will the Democrats hang on to the majority?
I think absolutely. In fact, it's probable that we'll increase our numbers over there. I mean, we've lost, Senator Regine. She's not running, but I think we're going to maintain the majority. And why is that? It's because the Democrats are the party of the grassroots. I mean, if there's an entity that really comes from the very fundamental things that make people want to get out and vote. I mean, there are people that are social workers, there are people in healthcare prevention, there are healthcare alliances, there are people in various entities that are moving forward in the legislature and are candidates again. And I think they've done a pretty good job showing this community that the environment is important, that education is important, that human services is important. And I think we're gonna do well this coming election. I think people see that, and we've come together with all the different the leadership in the Democratic Party, especially in this last 6-7 months, because we understand our people want to see us working together, and they want to see that we're working hard and we're focused on those things that are most important to our people. So I'm truly confident that we're going to see a Democratic majority prevail this election.
So currently the Democrats, Sarah, hold all three of the top political positions, or the governorship, loop, the legislature, and the congressional delegate. If you lose the legislative majority, do you think that's a referendum on the looking forward to the gubernatorial election in 2022?
Well, certainly, you know, maintaining the majority in the legislature is a plus, you know, when we're moving forward to the gubernatorials in a couple years. But I don't think that that's necessarily going to diminish the probability of a Democratic majority, a gubernatorial in the next couple of years. I think we're going to stick together as a party. We're going to build, we're going to rebuild, we're going to enhance, and we're going to take a look at what it is that we just maybe didn't do quite right, and what it is that we're going to do moving forward to ensure that we have a Democratic governor and lieutenant governor in a couple of years. So it's not going to be a good thing to lose the majority, but it's not going to hamper our spirit in moving forward towards maintaining the governor and lieutenant governor as Democrats.
All right, Tony, what do you think? Will the majority vote of the legislature, is that, do you think, a referendum on what will happen in 2022?
Well, I think in 2020, the Republicans take the legislature. I think that is going to be a segue into 2022. People have lost confidence in the legislature, and working into 2022, it will depend upon how the last 2 years of the current administration works with a Republican majority in the legislature. I think that could be the telltale signs of what will come of the 2022 gubernatorial elections.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
All right. And moving on to the congressional, we've got a little bit of an unusual race in that there are 3 candidates that are going to be on the ballot, 2 on the Democratic side and 1 on the Republican. Let me ask you, Sarah, who do you think is going to win? You got 2 from your party.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm going to say it's going to be one of our 2 candidates. I feel very confident about that. It's going to be our current Congressman Mike Nicholas, or it's going to be our former Congressman Robert Underwood. And I think it's clear to me that people are going to look at those 2 candidates because they've got a footing there in Congress. They know how it works, and I think they really want to see folks that have been involved at the DC level. It's very complicated these days, as you can imagine, to deal with all the going-ons in Washington, DC. So we really need someone that has that understanding and that insight into Washington, into the federal government, is batting for us with federal funding and support. And I just think we're going to have a Democrat in Washington. So, yeah.
How about you? How about you, Tony? Do you think having two Democrats benefits your Republican candidate, Will Castro?
Well, absolutely, and not only that, but I think Senator Will Castro has been he's done a superb job of going out there and meeting with the people, talking with the people, getting his message across, talking about not just local issues, but federal issues. I think that when the Madam Chairwoman of the Democrat Party spoke about the having a foothold into Congress with the current congressman, or with the former congressman, it just went to show that I don't think that has a play in there, because the current congressman has taken out an icon in the Democrat Party in Congress. So anything can happen. And I know that Senator Will Castro has the strength, he has the ability and the endurance to take on this campaign all the way through to November 3rd. And in the end, I believe that Senator Castro will prevail as being our next congressman from Guam.
All right. And we only got a couple of minutes left, but I got one more question for you. Sarah, who is going to win the U.S. presidential election and why?
Hands down, Biden-Harris. Biden-Harris is going to win. I think I've been watching all the different debates, and I've been watching the town hall meetings. And I'll tell you, I mean, to me, it's a very clear choice. You have a person such as Biden and his vice presidential partner there, Harris, who both have to me, a real connection with our people right now. And, you don't see angry, I just think it's really, they're sending a message of unity and not trying to divide our nation. There's ever a time in our history that we need to come together as a nation. It is now. And I think that leader that can help do that, I mean, gosh, the United States has a lot of issues besides dealing with this pandemic. They've got the issues with racism. They've got lots of stuff going on. And I just don't see a better team than Biden and Harris right now.
All right. And real quickly, Tony, I assume you're thinking President Trump will win re-election.
Well, absolutely. I think President Trump has done a superb job in rebuilding our economy in the past 3.5 years. He's handled this pandemic. He's coming to a crossroads where now, where are we going to be at, and how is he going to continue to build America and continue to keep America great? But not only that, it's that how does he include now all the territories and making them just as great with America? So when it comes down to it, it becomes one America, and he will become our president again for the next 4 years. And we look forward as a Republican majority in the legislature to be working not only with President Trump, but also with Governor Leon Guerrero and our next Congressman, Senator Will Castro. So it's going to be a great year, and I think that we're going to have a great turnout in our elections.
All right. Thank you very much for both of you for showing up today. We'll know on Tuesday of next week what the election results are going to be. Thank you, Sarah Thomas Nededog of the Democratic Party and chairperson of the Republicans, former Senator Tony Ada. I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next week on In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.